Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. And one of the most anticipated movies of the year, for a lot of people I would say, of course, is James Cameron's Avatar: Fire and Ash, the third entry in the long-running Avatar series, starring Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Kate Winslet. And this follows the Sully family once again immediately after the events of Avatar: The Way of Water, as they grapple with the wake of their brother and son's Nathaniel's death, and basically everything that happens after that. I'll just leave you to watch it. I will talk about some of the things that happen in this movie in the most non-spoilerish way possible. But this is a big deal because, there was about, I want to say, a 13-year gap between the original Avatar and The Way of Water, both of which got Best Picture nominations at the Oscars. The Way of Water, which I reviewed on this channel, I think is even superior to that original film. So, naturally, the hype was still there for many, but at the same time, it only been 3 years since we got an Avatar movie, and so it wasn't quite as much of a necessity to be like, oh my goodness, Avatar is back. It's like, no, we're just getting the next one. But of course, everybody was looking forward to the visual spectacle of the Avatar movies, and I will say first and foremost, this movie absolutely continues that streak of some of the most impressive and immersive visual effects in the film medium. And I think that this is easily a shoo-in to win Best Visual Effects at the Oscars, as all of these movies are. There are hardly any greater special effects to be found in any movie. Though I will say, I think last year Dune Part 2 could have given it a run for its money. It certainly could have won in a year of Avatar, with this movie at least, I think. But yet again, the way that these environments are generated, it's all done with visual effect work. Like, that is the world, and it feels so real and lived in, and I absolutely love that about these movies. And I also think that, the cast is basically the same from the last one, except you get a few additions here. I think Oona Chaplin as Varang, who's the leader of the Fire Tribe. I thought she really had some impressive moments, and her chemistry with Stephen Lang as Quaritch especially is quite intriguing, to say the least. They go to some crazy places in this movie, which I wasn't expecting, and there's certainly some trippy visuals that were very welcome, I think, in the long run. And of course, Sam Worthington, he's Jake Sully, he's good. Zoe Saldana is always great as Neytiri. Sigourney Weaver as Kiri continues to impress in a much younger role and performance, but she's great. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot to appreciate about this film, but I mean, here's the thing. I think the first hour of this movie was really, really good. Like, I was like, why are people, criticizing this movie? This feels so invigorating and fresh and just, non-stop, action-packed, so much happening. And then you get to the hour mark, and things start to get a little repetitive. And then they get a little too repetitive, to the point where this movie, I really felt cheated by the end of Avatar: Fire and Ash, because I think that there are so many missed opportunities here in the storytelling, and for some reason Cameron and company decided to retread a lot of the same beats from Avatar: The Way of Water, but in a way that does not feel like it pushes things that much forward. Sure, we're dealing with, these characters, and we're pushing them to new emotional heights and conflict, but I ultimately felt like, especially with the familial drama with the Sullys, a lot of it felt very contrived to me. And I get that there was a lot that was happening, of course, in the wake of, the ending of the last film, but it really did feel like they had to argue because the plot necessitated it. And I really did not like that, especially because some of the interactions felt very forced or rushed in ways that I don't think would have been realistic. I think I would have preferred to see a little bit more conflict, especially when it comes to how they handle the character of Spider, played by Jack Champion. Now, I have to say, he's gotten older at this point, and so, I hope that he continues to do good work in the future, but I don't really think he's that good as this character, and, the movie focuses so much on him that it really kind of makes me question why. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, and there are some very interesting points that they make with the character of Spider in this film, but ultimately, even then, I feel like he has a bit of the same arc as the first one. Sure, maybe it's a bit more definitive, but when it comes to the stuff with him and Quaritch, his father, we'll say, because of course, he's an Avatar, but I was watching the scene that they share in this movie. I'm like, wait, didn't I just see this 3 years ago? Like, why are we doing the same exact beat again? And it just, for a movie that's even longer than the second, I really don't understand why we need to continue to hit the audience over the head with the same plot beats and not flesh them out that much further. It really feels like they could have just skipped to the fourth movie. I really do feel that way. Because even with all that being said, I mean, there are some great moments, of course, in this drama. There are morsels of it to be found, but so much of this is just the same movie. Like, we're going back to the whales again. Sure, they do something a little bit different with it, but it takes up so much of the runtime, and it's basically the same thing. Oh, wow, they're abusing the whales. It's like, we've already saw that 3 years ago. Like, I really don't understand why we need to harp on this so much and pad out a runtime that could have been cut down by an hour. I seriously mean that. This could have been like 2:15 to 2:30, and that would have been a much tighter movie. I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more. And especially when it comes to the finale of this movie, it just feels like, as my buddy said coming out of the theater, reheated nachos. And so I don't really understand why Cameron is so hyper-fixated on this particular chapter in the story and dragging it out for as long as possible. Even with Kiri, I feel like, yes, they do push her character to new places, but it still feels like it's the same conflict that was trying to get resolved in the second film. And also, I just think that some of the dialogue here is absolutely terrible, and nothing takes me out of a movie more than terrible dialogue, unless it's like The Room or something, and I just felt like a lot of these interactions just made me scratch my head, or made me, kind of wince at the screen and cringe, just because I'm like, what are we doing here, man? Like, why isn't this dialogue better? Look, I mean, all respect to Cameron. He's made the highest grossing movies of all time. They get nominated for Best Picture, but guess what they don't get nominated for? Screenplay. So I think that really says a lot about the scripts here. I don't think the characters are anything that special, even though I enjoyed them a lot more in the second movie. There just isn't enough here to warrant a 3+ hour runtime. I really do feel that way, and I really don't understand the love all this movie's getting, and if it worked for you, that's great, but this is easily the weakest of the 3 Avatar movies, and it's definitely not one of the best movies of the year. I really think that this has kind of made me lose a bit of interest in the Avatar series. Now, from my understanding, I think 4 is going to be really, really crazy. There's a huge, jump in time, and so I guess I am looking forward to that a bit more. And if it is as crazy as we're expecting it to be, then yes, I am all in. But as of this chapter, I just really feel like this could have been condensed in a much more efficient way than what we had here. I mean, yes, the spectacle is magnificent, and it's hard not to appreciate the technical craft on display, but after a certain point, I'm just kind of like, why did I need to sit here for 3 hours to experience this again? And my thoughts have just continued to sour on it the more I step away from it. Unlike the other 2 movies, which I've only rewatched once, the first, and I haven't rewatched the second, but I would gladly do so at some point. I don't know if I'd ever want to see this again, as unfortunate as it is. I mean, look, like I said, you have to respect this for what Cameron did from a technical standpoint. These movies are insane. I don't know anyone else in Hollywood who could make this. But let's get a more inspired story next time. Like, that's what I really want. I just want this franchise to evolve in the ways that the second one made it evolve to. And I really hope that's what the fourth one does for this series. But for Fire and Ash, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I really wish I could sit here and tell you that I like this, but I cannot lie. I mean, this really does have a lot to admire, but ultimately I just think the story is a bit lackluster. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on Avatar Fire and Ash. Tell me why you disagree or agree with me in the comments below, because I really want a better understanding of how this story worked for a lot of people as opposed to the second movie. But hey, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you like what I'm doing here. And I want to bring more reviews. I'm so behind, and I very much apologize for that. But the next review I'm going to bring you is this thing on, the latest from Bradley Cooper. I know I said I was going to do it before, but I had to get on here and talk about Avatar before the holidays. And so much more. Marty Supreme is coming out this weekend. I cannot wait to see that. As well as so many other reviews coming down the pipeline. So please stay safe and stay warm. And if this is the last time I speak to you before Christmas, please have a very happy holiday season. We will talk very soon.